Hi. In this video, I'm going to interview Neil, who is working in LegitDoc. He's actually the project lead and co-founder there. In this video, he's going to tell us how they have implemented a blockchain-based solution for this particular industry, if I may. And the best part is that these guys are working with government. Okay, so you have to understand that this industry is evolving, and let's learn from Neil like how you can become a blockchain developer and how you can make your career in it. So welcome back, guys, and today I have with me Neil. He has done some amazing work with LegitDoc, and this is something he has done in blockchain. Now, previously in our channel, we already have few videos related to blockchain and how that works. So Neil has come forward. Now, he has already built a product on it. He understands the use cases of it, and he can see the future sort of a thing. Like he's a fortune teller, if I may. So our goal of this particular talk is to first of all understand how blockchain is disrupting, and secondly, if you are aiming to become a developer here, so he will give sort of a perspective like how you can become that and how you can actually make a career in it. Okay. So Neil, first of all, let us know about you and what your company does.
Yeah, so thanks Avinash. Thanks for inviting me on your podcast. So again, giving a brief introduction about myself. My name is, I have a very long name, so Neil Kevin Martis. So probably you can call me Neil. I'm the co-founder and project lead of our company called as Cross4 Solutions Private Limited. We are a company which was founded in 2018 and based out of Bangalore, and we specialize in developing blockchain-based applications, both on permissioned as well as permissionless blockchains. And probably you came to know about us through one of the product called LegitDoc, basically, which is a public blockchain that is currently deployed on Ethereum and Polygon blockchain, using which any document issuer can issue tamper-proof digital documents. These document issuers could be anybody, right? It could be a government department, it could be a financial institute like a bank, or a health agency, or a quality testing agency. Anybody can issue tamper-proof digital documents through our dApp. And these documents, once issued, which are completely owned by the stakeholders, can be verified from anywhere around the world within a matter of 10 seconds. So, so basically, it's a document registry on blockchain. It's a working document registry on blockchain that governments and enterprises are using. Yeah. Okay.
Now, Neil, I have a question right now because if we talk about blockchain, the simplest term is that it is a database which cannot be changed. Now, the question here comes in, like if we talk about this LegitDoc, the particular application which you have built, how that differentiates with the existing applications? Like, let's say if someone issued me a certificate. So that certification has sort of a number there. So I can go to that particular application, like let's say Government of India, like let's say Aadhaar card. So I have my Aadhaar card number. I can, like the Government of India can verify that if this Aadhaar card belongs to Avinash or not. So that implementation is being used using Web 2.2 technologies. Now, if we are talking about Web 3 now. So how that is differentiated, because the viewers right now are confused, like, okay, blockchain is there, but how that thing is becoming as a use case which was not available previously.
Sure. So before I talk about this, but why it is making sense to issue documents on blockchain, so let us first define what blockchains are, right? So a lot of people try to define that blockchains are decentralized databases. These are not databases. These are virtual machines. So you understand what virtual machines are, right? In a traditional Web 2 cloud, this thing. So why? I would like to answer why blockchains are very powerful, right? And then it kind of would make sense why building applications on top of blockchain makes sense rather than doing it in a traditional cloud-based repository, right? So if I have to define, again, this is not something original that I've come up with. I'm paraphrasing Chris Dixon from A16Z, a partner from at A16Z, which is one of the biggest funds in US. So he defines blockchains as nothing but computer networks, a next form of computer networks that can give you the highest form of data commitments. Meaning, so if you see the evolution of computers, starting from mainframes, then we had personal computers, then we had mobile networks, then we had cloud networks, right? So one thing that was lacking is these computer networks cannot give you 100% commitment that the program that you have written on top of it or some data that are committed there cannot be changed in perpetuality, right? Because at the end, admin who is controlling this database has full control over it. So the core invention of blockchains is, for the first time in human history, there is a piece of technology through which you can run any arbitrary programs or you can submit any arbitrary data on these virtual machines, which are not under control of any single admin which are decentralized, and that can give you the highest form of data commitment. And because of this highest form of data commitment, that's where it is causing so many applications, right? I mean, it's use cases, I would say, because in the traditional Web 2 sense, majority of even though everything is going online, at the end it requires some kind of trust in a third party, right? And there are issues with respect to, there are costs associated with maintaining, giving some trust to somebody. Then there are, you cannot do open source, I would say open source innovation, right? Because somebody is controlling this. The place where blockchains are coming in is giving these commitments to you. And the moment you have this ability to have a data commitment or a commitment for a program, you can spin off a lot of applications on top of it. Now, coming to your questions, why issuing documents on blockchains makes sense, right? See, first of all, I would say that this is a very small use case of blockchain, that having I would say that low-hanging use case. That is nothing but decentralized document registry on blockchain. But the biggest use case is in financial sector. So people say that blockchain is not about cryptos, it is about something else. It is about cryptos, it is about DeFi. It's just that the UX and we call it as something called as Overton window, right? That we have not crossed that Overton window, and the UX is not good. But again, coming back to this simple question of document registry. See, document registry has been solved using so many ways, right? For example, the traditional way was using paper certificates. Somebody gives you a paper certificate, then if you get this paper certificate, obviously you cannot instantaneously verify this, and you have to again contact the issuer. So it is a traditional manual process, and so many forgeries are happening. Now, this particular solution, as you told, can be solved using a traditional Web 2 sense, right? Whereby the administrator who is issuing these documents can have his own centralized repository, either store this document data or the document themselves on the centralized repository, and using some query mechanism can give this facility. And for example, if you see DigiLocker, it works on the similar thing, right? And this is a very old technology. But if you see the security trend that is happening across the world, right, exposing a centralized database for the purpose of document access and verification is prone to be broken. Just giving an example, 1 year back, DigiLocker leaked somewhere around more than 1 crore document data belonging to Indian residents. That is just one example, right? So one is document security. Second, the biggest problem where I would say blockchains are coming into picture is giving that document ownership back to the citizen. See, at the end, here what happens in any kind of centralized repository, you're trusting the admin to kind of hold your documents, right? And when I say documents, in fact, recently we did an implementation for Government of Maharashtra, e-governance document. So you see the trend that is happening across the world, right? Even across highly democratic countries like Canada, people are getting deplatformed. So having a document registry on blockchain is a way whereby once the issuer has issued this document, even the issuer cannot deplatform a citizen. That is the biggest power, I could say, the blockchains are giving it. And apart from that, open source verification, the moment you have open source verification, you can come and build interesting applications on top of it in a permissionless way, and so and so. I hope I answered your question.
Yep. So basically, what I'm able to understand, obviously, this is something which I'm able to understand. Like, if we have a centralized control, obviously, if that centralized control has sort of a security mechanism, then it is not prone to hacking. Secondly, what I'm able to understand is like the centralized owner has to have built that kind of a trust, because if they won't be able to build the trust, that is going to be the challenge. So here, what I'm assuming is that if we talk about blockchain, so like a lot of things come in, like smart contracts and different stuff. So we are talking about that the person has to trust the algorithm rather than sort of an entity controlling that. And if I'm a person right now, I should just have a trust on the algorithm. And is that algorithm open there, or like it is somewhere hidden so that the people cannot see?
Yeah, see, for example, there are advanced form of cryptography, but let us stick to basic smart contracts, right? See, the place where smart contracting, so what are smart contracts? Smart contracts is nothing but arbitrary code that is running on, it's a fancy name for code running on open blockchains or even private blockchains in some sense, right? See, how smart contracts are different from traditional databases. See, the maximum democratization or openness that you can go with the traditional Web 2.0 system is you can make it open source. So what is open source? Basically, you're open sourcing your code, but I cannot see the execution of the code that is happening. So I have to trust that this is the code he is running, right? And secondly, if I have to build any systems on top of it, he has to give me an API. So that is our traditional Web 2 system works. Now, in a traditional smart contracting way, so first of all, we call it as on top of open source, this is something called as open state and open execution. What do I mean by that? So whatever this code that I have written, So for example, we have written a smart contract for document registry, right? And we have deployed on, let's say, Ethereum right now. The entire smart contract code is open source. People can see what the smart contract is, which smart contract is interacting with it. That is open source. Open state is nothing but I can actually go to the smart contract, and from the end, I can pull up the entire history, what transactions have happened in that. All right, that's what I call as open state. That ability is not there with any of your Web 2.0 method, right? No one gives you access to his entire virtual machine, right? So that is the most powerful part. So this is where, instead of trusting a party, even you don't have to trust the algorithm also. You can have to trust math, right? If you are good enough. And a final thing, I would say that it is open execution. For example, let's say you are building a simple calculator application, right? And using a traditional Web 2 setting, what you do, you give out 2 inputs, something happens at the backend, and you get an output. You do not know what is happening at the backend. Here, the entire execution of the code that is happening for each and every input that you give is open. So smart contracts are open source, open state, and open execution. This is where they're kind of different. And as you said, once you deploy a smart contract on a public blockchain, it is open for anybody to audit, anybody to view, and anybody to build systems on top of it. And I do not need Avinash's permission. So obviously, Avinash has a permission, has the ability to write into the smart contract, but to read from the smart contract, anybody can read it.
Okay, so basically, I understand. Like, let's say if you are building something on blockchain, if that is a public blockchain, that means if someone is involved in that, like maybe they're a stakeholder, maybe I'll take an example of, like, let's say we put all the Aadhaar card in a public blockchain. So how Aadhaar card is generated, or maybe something like that. So like everyone can see that. So it is not going to raise a question like how you guys are storing my data or how my data is being processed. So basically opening up the application where I'm sort of a stakeholder, so that I have the transparency.
Yeah, and you have the ownership as well, which was not possible before. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I like the other question is like, okay, fine. So I'm storing my documents over blockchain. Now, I'll take this question sort of from a perspective of a beginner right now. So like, let's say if we talk about the traditional Web 2.0 technology, so like I can build almost everything. So like, let's say if I have to build a social network, or maybe I have to build something around that, so I can build using the Web 2 technology. Now we talk about Web 3.0, it is sort of like you have given us a new definition of it. So apart from storing documents, you're saying that it has a finance sort of a use case. So what are the other use cases where you think that this industry is going to evolve, and how that is going to implement, so that it is going to sort of disrupt the current system which is there, so that the people, ultimately the people who are the stakeholder of everything, they are going to get the ultimate benefit?
Yeah, sure. So for example, I would again reiterate that the biggest application of blockchains is in DeFi, and people define DeFi mostly as, dApps, DeFi applications built on Ethereum. I would say that Bitcoin is the biggest DeFi application, which is nothing but peer-to-peer store of value, right? Now, taking a step back, why this is going to be huge, especially for the financial sector, right? So you compare it with the internet. Now, before the internet came, so what is the internet? Internet is an open peer-to-peer mechanism that we developed for transfer of information, right? And before the internet came, that ability was not there. It was centralized. Let's say, for example, you want to publish something, you had to go it through a gated community of newspaper, right? Like tomorrow, let's say Avinash has a very good unique idea. He has to go through a centralized system. And because our flow of information was centralized, so no many innovations couldn't happen. So the commercial internet came through somewhere in 1990s, and within 20 to 25 years now, so the moment it became open source, any damn person like Kevin or Avinash can come and build systems on top of it. And whatever the economy that we have, if you see the top companies in S&P, all of these are internet companies, right? Or somehow depend on internet companies. So internet completely democratized access to information, and whatever the wealth that you see is today because of that, right? Now, coming to blockchains, let me take a step back again. So what internet enabled is, it enabled open sharing of information, but where the biggest application, it's in finance. Even now, even though internet has democratized access to information, access to finance, as you understand, is a highly regulated space, right? Because of obvious questions. And for example, let's say tomorrow Avinash came up with a very interesting idea. I want to make a payment system. Can you go and build a payment system on top of the existing banking system? No, right? So they have to give a API, government has to give a connect. So this is a problem with financial system, whether it's derivative, whether whatever the things. So this innovation is closed. So what blockchains are allowing right now is allowing any arbitrary person to come and build applications on top of it, even financial applications, right? For example, and these applications are already here. So for example, what is Bitcoin, people define it in a lot of ways, but it is one of the most immutable store of value, right, which was not possible to build before, and people are using it. Even for example, you can see what is happening in Ukraine. So just to they have this power right now to have an exit, so which was not possible before. Then you can see the example of remittances, right? So these companies like money, Western unions have monopolized this market and take a huge cut, and especially developing countries are facing huge problem. Suddenly there is a lightning network, which is a layer on top of blockchain, again open source innovation. Now at almost free of cost, instantaneously people are able to do remittances, and so you see what is happening in El Salvador. And similarly, for example, what is the banking sector, right? There is basically various kind of financial instruments such as borrowing, lending. You see a parallel system that is growing up in blockchain as well, and the whole point being blockchain opens up this open innovation in financial sector, which was missing till now. And that's the reason why I'm telling the biggest application of blockchain is in finance, something similar to the internet.
Okay, so basically, as per your opinion, it is basically like, obviously I understand, since I am a consumer right now, I understand like what are the use cases of it, and I also face some challenges with the finance sector. Again, I don't want to be very open about it, but yes, there are some challenges which I face. Like, let's say if I want to send money, if I want to receive money, so obviously there is a first regulation which is given by the government: is Avinash authorized to send money outside, or is Avinash authorized to get money inside? Then there comes the bank, which have a second layer. So obviously I understand this is a huge pain point. It is a huge pain point, exactly. So like Neil, now like, my follow-up question is, obviously, like, if I'm a beginner right now, like maybe I have invested I'm a 4-year, 5-year, maybe 7 years experience in the industry of IT, or maybe I'm a student right now and I'm quite pumped with this technology of blockchain. But the challenge here is, like, let's say if I want to make a simple web application, I'll go to the internet, I'll maybe watch a tutorial, and I will simply start with my browser. I'll download the code editor and I will start doing the stuff, because again, for building a web application, I don't need a special amount of I would say processor and different stuff. But if we talk about blockchain, again, first of all, as a student or maybe as a beginner, I don't know anything. So what would you suggest to a beginner? Like, what would be the step-by-step approach towards this technology, so that they can start learning it and they can start leveraging the power? Because the problem is, if they don't learn it right now, it will be very late for them. So what would be the approach as a beginner they would be having?
Sure, I think so. Again, this is my perspective. So first of all, giving a sorry, am I on mute?
Yeah, you're audible.
Sure. So first of all, I'm a civil engineer. I was not a techie. So I'm a civil engineer who got interested in cryptos or blockchain, and just for the love of it, I learned everything. Right? I mean, definitely, I'm not the coder for a startup, but that's how I started to learn. Right? So probably I can give you my perspective how even a non-technical guy can get acquainted with blockchains. Right? See, so first thing. The biggest mistake that I see I see a lot of my colleagues or my ex friends from my college trying to get into Web3, and they weave it as one more technology stack, right? So like, okay, let me read some tutorials and let me start developing applications on top of it. I would say that is not the first starting point to start. I would say try to understand this. There is a huge philosophical angle to blockchains, why blockchains matter. So you have to master that first. Only when you understand, get your wrap your head around why blockchain matters, then you would be have ideas about what to build on blockchains, right? So first, I would, whether you're a tech guy or a non-tech guy, whether you're trying to get into the developer kind of a role, or even let's say business development or whatever, I would say that try to understand the philosophical side of blockchains, right? Again, so these blockchain is a very evolving space, and there is no go-to way for you to learn. I would say that the easiest place to start is try understanding Bitcoin. All right, and so Bitcoin is the easiest and the right place for anybody to understand. If you don't understand Bitcoin, you don't understand blockchains. Plain and simple. And for you, if at all, you have to start. So the simple, I mean, there are a lot of resources, and there is a very good educator called as Andreas Antonov on YouTube. You can just Google him. So he has a lot of books such as the Internet of Money Volume 1 and 2, and he has open tutorials on YouTube. Watch his videos. Consume his videos for around 30 hours. So you have to do your own research. Then you will get a basic understanding of blockchains, and basic understanding of Bitcoin, right? Why Bitcoin matters. Then if you're still interested to know how it works, right? Bitcoin particularly works. So probably you can take a workshop. Again, Andreas Antonov has a workshop, a free workshop. You can take it up. Otherwise, there is a very good book called as Mastering Bitcoin, again by Andreas. So you can probably go through this. If you go through this, even for a coder, you'll understand how blockchain is working in right? And once you understand Bitcoin, then probably I would want you to read about Ethereum, right? How Ethereum works. And again, there are very good books by Andreas called as Mastering Ethereum. So that would be a very good starting point for anybody to understand Ethereum. Then let's say you want to go and develop applications on top of blockchains, right? Now that you have understood what is the philosophical background of blockchains, then one thing that you require is you need to be a very good, at least I would say, very good full stack web developer. So at least some kind of medium proficiency in full stack web development. So probably you can learn front end, back end, kind of frameworks. Especially I would suggest go for a JavaScript based framework, because JavaScript has highest number of libraries, especially for public blockchain interfaces, right? So probably you take a medium level, take up a course in Udemy for a full stack development course, do it for 2 to 3 months, develop some basic applications. Then there are a lot of, again on Udemy or even on YouTube, there are, for example, tutorials such as Eat the Blocks, which are free tutorials, right? Whereby people then can go and understand what is the basics of for example, smart contracting blockchains such as Ethereum, how to build things on them, how to build smart contracts, how to merge them or kind of connect them with traditional dApps. And I would suggest that's how we are supposed to take this journey. And last point I want to say is this particular journey, because it is not standardized, right? This process is evolving. It is kind of personalized for each and everybody. But these are the hooks and small point that somebody can build upon and find their own way. Hope that makes sense.
Okay, so basically, like if I'm a learner right now, first of all, I have to understand what is actually blockchain, if I may, and the best part is I should learn with Bitcoin, because obviously I think Bitcoin is one of the biggest application of blockchain right now in the world. And so, like you mentioned that I should be going first of all understanding blockchain, understanding the philosophical concept of it, and then I should be jumping into the Web 2 technologies, like being a full stack developer. Now I have done that. Now, what is the next step I have to take?
For example, let's say, so are you trying to tell me that you want to get into the industry right now?
No, not in the industry. I have to become a blockchain developer. So I have understood the concept of, or I should say, philosophical understanding of blockchain. And now I have sort of mastered the full stack development, but this is not the blockchain part. Now blockchain, like the technical part of it.
Sure. See, for example, again, what is blockchain development, right? So coming back to full stack development, there is a backend, there is a front end. Now here, blockchain is one more layer below the backend, right? So backend is basically interacting with front end also can interact with the blockchain. Yeah. But it's a layer, I would say. And usually when people say that blockchain application, I would say that 70 to 80% of the entire application is actually application development. So the blockchain smart contracting development is a very small part, but it's a very crucial part as well. Now, how to learn the smart contracting way? For example, I would suggest that start with Solidity and start developing dApps on Ethereum, right? And how to start about it. So I would recommend 2 sources. One is definitely if you go and Google in Udemy, there is a Ethereum, full courses available. I think it is of 30 to 40 hours. You can take it up. You will completely, master about how to deploy code on blockchains, how to basically on Ethereum, any kind of code using Solidity. Otherwise, as I told you, there are free alternatives such as Eat the Blocks on YouTube. Just go through their tutorials. These are tutorials spanning for 30 to 40 hours. Consume everything. They will teach you from, what are the basics of blockchain, how to deploy a simple smart contract, how to link it with your application, and do the end-to-end thing, right? And once you have learned this, build a very simple application. It could be a calculator, or it could be whatever, right? A very, very simple application, a diary, whatever it is. And once you have built the smart contract, once you have deployed the smart contract, once you have, kind of linked your web application with this thing, and you see the end-to-end flow, right? Then you'll get an idea of how things are working. And this is how you incrementally learn. And there are good code challenges as well. For example, Eat the Blocks, or there is one more channel called as dApp University, I think, on YouTube again. So they have traditional, for example, 2 to 3, application building exercises. They make you go through building certain applications, I think that would be suffice for you to get a basic understanding of how to deploy on blockchains. Then if you want to go for a next level, you want to get into the industry, one very relevant place I would suggest, especially for Web2 people who have very good experience or medium experience in Web2 development. There is an influencer called as Preeti Kasireddy. So who has her own cohorted courses called as I think DAP University or a DAP camps. You can just Google it up. So which are paid courses. Probably you can take her course as well, which is kind of a rapid course whereby you get through a rapid pace of developing blockchain based applications, and you're good to go. And after that, it's up to you where you want to go, right? Whether you want to whether you like DeFi, whether you like NFTs, you can explore each and everything. And especially now there are a lot of openings coming up, especially there's a huge dire need for smart contracting developers or blockchain developers, and there's shortage of supply, I would say. So just start applying randomly, DMing founders of any Web3 based startup, whether it's in India, abroad. So try to be an intern there, and I would say that is an easy entry for you to get into Web3.
Okay. No, and so basically you're saying that I would be like, again, once I have done the full stack development, I should learn the Solidity programming language, which was an application with which we build the smart contracts. And after that, I should be approaching the companies who are already working in this industry, because obviously they need people, because there is so much shortage in the industry. Like it's getting like, I would say, like if someone says I have the understanding of blockchain, people are running behind them. I want you to come with us. Now, I want to have one more question, which is going to be sort of related to people who would say that, again, the challenge here is, if we talk about blockchain, again, that is a good technology. But the challenge is like, again, there are some few people, like there are people like who can learn coding and they can start doing everything from scratch. Like they will say, okay, give me 6 months, I'll master blockchain and then I'll come as a Web3 developer. There are a few people who would say, programming is something which I'm not able to excel right now. It is something which I'm not able to make this as my skill. But if we talk about blockchain, this is an industry which is actually quite intriguing, and I want to get into industry. So what are the options available for the people who cannot, like, again, they are not able to make programming as their sort of a biggest skill?
Yeah, again, see, being a blockchain developer is not only the opportunity that is there, right? So you can be so many other things. Let's say you are not good at development. Let's say you're good at content creation. You're good at business development. See, all these blockchain companies, apart from blockchain developers, obviously they need people in marketing. They need people in business development. They need people in content creation. And some of the startups even have something called as chief meme officer as well. Now, memes are the ways for you to communicate things. So let's say you are very good at doing memes and you understand blockchains. Go and do very good memes, right? People will hire you. So there are a lot of roles that are available, I would say. For example, see, you can be a very good podcaster. See what Super Pumped, I don't know whether you have heard of this team called as Super Pumped or Super Team by Akshay Bedi and Tanmay Bhatt. So they're probably one of the biggest crypto podcasts in India. See what they've done. So these are not tech guys, right? So but they understood about blockchains and they had very good content creation or speaking skills, right? And they created this new place, and they even created something called. So this is one thing you can do. And especially what I see right now is, because I'm usually I talk to Polygon. We have a very good relationship with Polygon. Just go and see the job opportunity. Just see the job portal that is put up by Polygon, right? Apart from development roles, there are so many business development or managerial kind of roles, which I think even traditional Web2 people who do not know how to code but can go and take those kind of jobs.
So basically the thing is, like, again, I'll reiterate this because I have this understanding. So basically, usually what used to happen previously, like if you have a product, you will read about the product for, like, let's say next 3 days, and you become sort of a salesman for that product, or maybe a marketer. But if we talk about this industry of blockchain, if you have the technical understanding of it, what is the philosophical understanding of it, then you can excel in this field, because even if you have to market it, even if you have to sell it, you have to have the understanding of the technology before, like, making the move. I believe this is what you would agree.
Not exactly. So, for example, I would say that so for a non-tech role, so having a philosophical point of view is very important. You do not learn how to code to understand, for example, Bitcoin and blockchain, right? So as long as you know why it matters and how it works, right? To know how it works, you do not need to go and develop a smart contract. You know, to see all this stuff. And I think that knowledge itself will be suffice. And more than that, the biggest skill that you need to have is having hands-on experience with, interacting with blockchain protocols, right? So for that, you don't need to learn code. For example, let's say you are innately interested in DeFi or cryptos, right? What you'll do, you'll probably open a MetaMask wallet, try to, do some kind of DeFi operations, try to do, yield farming. So many stuff you'll try around, right? That itself will give you the practical knowledge that is required about blockchains or the philosophical background. So I would say that having a philosophical background plus hands-on experience with respect to doing things in blockchain, right, or interacting or experiment things in blockchain is a precursor for you to get into non-technical roles. Coding is not a requirement at all.
Okay, good. So Neil, now my question is, if I'm watching right now, I'm quite intrigued, and the question is your company hiring for blockchain developers? Or I would say, if I'm getting the expertise there, are you guys hiring?
Yes, we are. So soon we will be. So we are actively looking for very good developers. So we believe in something similar to how Modi ji says that large governance but smaller government. We would like to have smaller team but huge impact. So currently we are lucky to have very talented blockchain developers or smart contract developers in our team. Apart from me, I'm the least talented one. Everyone else can code. I just talk. So we are actively looking for blockchain developers, and we are looking to close our. So we are bootstrap startup till now. Okay. So we have somehow managed to stay bootstrap till now, but I think soon we'll be going for a seed fundraiser, and then we will be having need for very good blockchain engineers, I would say.
Okay, and if I wish to apply for your company, what would be the process for that? Because right now, if someone is watching,
just DM me on Twitter.
Okay, DM me on Twitter. Okay, Neil, so last question is, you must have made some mistakes during this whole journey. As a company, you guys must have made a mistake in this industry, or you personally have made some mistake while learning blockchain. What is that one mistake you would say to a beginner that they should avoid so that they can fast forward their journey, or I should say learn?
Again, right, for example, whatever the path that I told you, so that was after experimentation. Like I was going through, because for me there was no go-to source to learn blockchains, right? So if you're just talking about blockchains, so I can tell you what one perspective, and about our startup one more perspective. Now about learning from about blockchain, see, I was all over the places, right? So I was going and searching the website, reading blog sites, reading books. So it took me about so again, I would say that even I'm learning, and I would probably know just 1 or 2% of blockchain. It's a huge evolving. No one knows so no one can catch up with it, right? And even I'm learning right now, and I would say that I don't know anything. I know very little things in blockchain, and see, I took about 2 years because of this experimentation. So going for this, going for that, trying how to learn, right? So whatever the path that I suggested, it is not the right path, but it is one of the working path. If you could follow that itself to learn about blockchain, so probably you can cut short that entire 2 years of path and do it within 6 months. So that would be about you're learning about blockchains. So do you want me to answer what the startup as well?
No. So see, basically, like again, I want to reiterate that, like he has mentioned one thing, and I would agree to that. Like when we are learning something new, obviously, what is the challenge we face is like we go everywhere. We go to Google, we go to YouTube, and obviously he has shared the most important aspect of it. Instead of learning about a technology, blockchain is this, we have to understand the philosophical aspect of it. Like, why does that exist actually? We have to understand from the perspective what are the challenges people are facing, and why this has come forward, and why now it is becoming sort of an industry where all people are going. Like, if we talk about the internet, obviously he has mentioned, like previously, if someone like let's say if we want to release a video, obviously we had to go to a media channel. We would say, okay, Neil is coming in. They will say, okay, who is Neil? Who is Avinash? But right now we have the opportunity. I can literally reach out to Neil, and he said, yes, I'm ready. I said, I'm ready, and then we simply started. So that is the advantage we got with the internet. Now, if you understand the importance of blockchain, then only you will be able to actually excel in this field. Rather than just understanding, okay, there is so much money involved, a lot of people are pumping money, so I can make a quick buck. Again, I don't think that is going to how it is going to happen with my experience, and I would think Neil would agree to that.
Exactly. Definitely, whenever a new technology comes up, so the people who are first to use it are criminals and speculators, right? So same thing happened with the internet also. You can see the internet bubble. You can read about the internet bubble in 2000. So similar thing is happening. And here, see, for example, beautiful thing about cryptos or blockchains is it has opened up financial aspect, right? And inherently, all of us are interested in money, making money.
Yeah.
So it is giving you this like open, gateway for you to go and do experimentation here. And I think that's where a lot of speculation is, happening. But even real world applications are being built, and I would say that blockchain will definitely have, I would say, 10x more impact than what internet did in the next 10 to 20 years.
Okay, Neil, before starting the conversation, you did mention that you guys have made multiple products in your firm, not just related to Legit Talk, but other platforms you have also built. So I would like you to tell us about that product also, because that will help the viewer understand, okay, what are the other use cases you guys are using with it, so that they can have a better perspective.
Sure. So currently we have 3 working products, or 3 verticals, buckets we would call it, and fourth one, it is hopefully we will be able to ship it soon. Okay. So first product is Legit Doc. I told you basically it's a document registry app which can be applied for all kind of documents, right? Yeah. Second product, this is a recent addition we had, and we have not launched it to the public. We are planning to launch it with the live implementation. So we are gonna, so again, I'm not supposed to spill more beans about it, but so we are gonna, soon you'll hear about one major government implementing this application for nearly 12 lakh residents of particular district. So this particular application, we call it as Legit Ledger, which is nothing but a private blockchain, customized private blockchain product that we offer to our clients and to enterprises and governments, which will allow these enterprises or governments to track and enable asset transfers within a known among a known number of entities, right? Whether it's within departments or across organizations, and they would want to have a private blockchain shared kind of a ledger, and they want to track an asset. An asset could be a simple document or a supply chain asset or an MRO asset, whatnot, and you can track through this. And with respect to even though we have not made this public, so our style is make it public with respect to a live implementation. So soon we'll have a live implementation with respect to a government entity for something called as benefit transfer tracking. Then even we are working with one of the biggest MROs in India called Airworks as well, and some other very interesting applications we are doing. So that is the second vertical. And third vertical is nothing but blockchain consultation here. So because we have, our founders have a mix of blockchain expertise plus consulting background as well. And these days, a lot of enterprises and governments come to us saying that we want to adopt blockchain, but we don't know what to do and how to do it, right? And this is where we use our consultation part as well, and we go and define their blockchain adoption strategy for them. And let's say we identify a use case, we go and understand their existing system, architect a solution, a practical solution around it, and recommend a way for them to implement it. And definitely, if they want us to implement it, and we can do it, we go ahead and do it. That's all.
Okay. So basically, you guys are not just building product out of it. You guys are also helping the other entities if they feel like, okay, blockchain is something they want to use. So you're going to help them also. Okay, good. Neil, so last question is, now if I want to connect with you, what are the best medium or best possible ways with which I can connect with you? Because I am not the enterprise, I'm not the government right now. I don't have that much amount of money. So how can I get the free consultation?
Free consultation? Definitely. I mean, you can hit me up on LinkedIn and Twitter. Let's see what your problem statement is. Yeah. So if at all it makes sense for us to solve it, definitely.
No, this is going to be just for the students who want to learn about the technology. That was sort of funny thing I added. So obviously as a student, if I want to reach you for the questions related to the, maybe if I'm interested in doing the internship part of it, or maybe if I have something cool I want to share with you, I believe LinkedIn and Twitter are the best possible medium for them to connect.
Yeah, just DM us on LinkedIn or Twitter. So probably I can leave my Twitter and LinkedIn handles in your description.
Yeah, I'll get it. Yeah. Yeah. So great. It was great having you, Neil. It was obviously sort of a student-friendly session which we had. You had given us a better perspective on one of the most important things you shared with us is the philosophy of understanding the blockchain, because everyone is running behind money. I understand that this is the core of a lot of people, but yes, we have to understand the basics of that, and after that we should actually excel in this particular technology. So thank you very much, and obviously I would love to see other products which will be implemented. So I would love to say that, okay, I have interviewed a guy who has implemented a great product.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Avinash, for giving us this platform. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Great meeting with you.
Bye bye. Yeah.
So that's it for the video. In case if you have a question, obviously comment section is the right place for you. We will make sure that your answer is answered, or I should say the question is answered. And if you have a career related doubt, you're not sure what is the right path for you, or if you're looking for a specialized training, in that case, there is a link which is given in the description of this video. Put down your details and someone from our team will reach you and assist you with your career doubts so that your career growth is not halted.